So it is my privilege this morning to introduce our next speaker, and I really don't think I need to open this because I've known him for a number of years. I will share a story and add to his little bio here because he has been a lifelong student of New Thought, something that has been in him throughout his life. In 2022, he was ordained in divine science. But when I met him originally, he was basically known as a music minister, and he became the music minister at the Center for Spiritual Living, Nashville. He was there for a number of years. And when he was talking about coming there, and suddenly he kind of changed his mind. I won't go into all the things that caused him to change his mind. But we sat down with our board and realized that no one seemed right for that position except for our next speaker. So I called him and I said, let me come by your house and talk to you a little while. So I went to his house and he didn't immediately say no. So I stayed. And a little while longer, and he still hadn't said yes, so I stayed. In a couple of hours, and I mean, we had coffee. Did we have a sandwich or something that day?
Sandwich, we had 4 cups of coffee.
4 cups. 4 cups of coffee. I mean, I think there may have been more like 6 or 8. But finally, after about 3 hours, he still hadn't said yes, so I stayed. And finally, about 5 hours later, he was like, if you will just go home, I'll do it. It actually didn't quite come to that, but that may have been what was going through his mind. But that was the beginning of a very wonderful relationship that has lasted through the years between the two of us. And it also was a time when our church grew so much. And this is Nashville, where you have great musicians, and he is that. And when the senior minister was wanting to change a little something and asked me about it, I said, look, and this had to do with the music program, and I said, look, every Sunday we have to, if we fill up the sanctuary, we have to open the back doors and let people sit out in the foyer area in the vestibule for the service. We can't hold them all in the sanctuary. I said, so we have a packed house every Sunday, and the music doesn't get just one standing ovation. He gets a standing ovation after every song he does. I said, so basically what I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I said, our offerings are up, everything is there, and he brought that energy because he had a great consciousness for it. He has also been on Good Morning America and interviewed there. He has worked with someone who was a mentor and teacher for him, and that is he had the opportunity to work with Dr. Wayne Dyer. So he definitely today is going to come up and give us something that will bless us. So today, with the power of humor, is the Reverend Sean O'Shea.
So I should start by telling you a little bit about why I decided upon this topic. You know, I knew that we would get into a lot of things that were very heady, very thoughtful, very moving, as witnessed by some tears I saw during that last song, which I admire. And you know, crying and laughing are so closely related. Have you ever laughed so hard you started to cry? Or cried so hard you started to laugh? It's amazing. They're almost interchangeable. Emotions are emotions. Reminds me of the story of the mom who on Sunday morning looked at the clock and got a little nervous. She ran to her son's bedroom door and banged on the door and said, "You're going to be late for church." He said, "I'm not going." She said, "What? You most certainly are going. Why are you not going?" He said, "They don't like me. And you know what? I don't like them either." She said, "Now, you listen to me. I'm giving you 2 reasons why you are going. One, you're 47, and two, you're their minister. It was little Timmy way back when. No, it was not really. It was. So I have some interesting, well, at least I hope they'll be interesting. Otherwise, this is going to be a really long talk for you. But some facts about the power of laughter. Preschool age children laugh an average of 400 times a day. And then we grow up. The average adult laughs an average of 17 times a day. So here's something to think about. What changed? That's a whole topic of discussion and worthy of investigation. In the 1950s, people laughed on the average of 18 minutes per day. Today, we're lucky if we average between 4 and 6 minutes. Laughter relaxes the whole body. A good hearty laugh relieves physical tension and stress, leaving your muscles relaxed for up to 45 minutes afterward. Laughter boosts the immune system. Laughter decreases stress hormones and increases immune cells and infection-fighting antibodies, thus improving your resistance to disease from laughing. Laughter triggers the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals. Endorphins promote an overall sense of well-being and can even temporarily relieve pain. Laughter protects the heart. Laughter improves the function of blood vessels and increases blood flow, which can help you against a heart attack and other cardiovascular problems. Notice the Far Side cartoon. The obligatory Far Side cartoon. It reminds me of, 30 years ago when I met my now wife, Laurie. And Laurie is a New Thought positive music singer-songwriter. My favorite one, by the way. And I know some really good ones. And she's amazing. And we first were out to dinner at a business gathering, and I kind of had a little crush on her. I thought she was just adorable and so cute. And my favorite Far Side cartoon is this one. Two deer standing, one's got a bullseye, and he says, "Bummer of a birthmark, Hal." It's just ridiculous. And this cartoonist had a knack for turning, animals into human-like characteristics, and it was always just so silly. So it was a very loud table full of people. There was a lot of stuff going on. And someone asked another, "Oh, what happened to your hand? Did you burn yourself?" And he said, "Oh, no, that's actually just a birthmark." And under my breath, Laurie was sitting next to me. Under my breath, I said, "Bummer of a birthmark." And she said, "Hal." It was meant to be. Yes? Does God have a sense of humor? Wow. That sounds like an audacious question. Because there are churches where if you were to suggest humor and God, that's just scary. That's blasphemous. That's so horrible. How dare you suggest? Please, have you looked in a mirror? God most definitely has a wonderful sense of humor. Where humor can be lacking is right here. My dad was 40 years older than me. He was a big Irish guy. I did not get that height gene. But Dad, we were born and raised in New England, where it was cold, 9 months of the year. And Dad always wore this long trench coat and a hat. And he had a big old Cadillac. And he had an elderly uncle that was in the nursing home. And so Dad had parked his car in downtown Millbury, Massachusetts, which is like Mayberry RFD. Your typical little New England town. And he stopped and he shut the door of his big old Cadillac. He had keys in his hand, right? And he stepped, and traffic stopped in both directions because it's that kind of town. So they both stopped and motioned for him to walk across. My dad, being the gentleman he is, tips his hat, steps forward about a step and a half, and ooh, his keys fly out of his hand out into the street. He had shut the back of his trench coat in his car, which was locked, and the keys were out there in the street. And so he's trying to open the door behind him, and he can't. And then he's trying to reach for the keys, and he can't. Now, you're watching this. You can see, well, sir, just take your coat off and let it dangle in. Look, he's 81 years old at that point. He's embarrassed. He's in a hurry to get, all the traffic is stopped. He's just standing there like, I don't know what to do. Now, here's a moment. He could get upset and embarrassed or angry that this happened. The drivers waiting for him could be impatient and angry and upset. A woman over here on his right put her car in park, got out, came up, took his keys, unlocked his door for him, let him out. They're both laughing like sixth graders. I mean, giggling. They don't even know each other. They hug. And now they're both cracking up like crazy. And my dad starts across the street. They all motion to him, come on, come on. They're tooting and waving. And he's all red-faced and oh, God, he's waving to everybody like a celebrity. It was the moment that my dad chose to see the absurdity in the situation. It was the woman in the car who, instead of, oh, come on, pal, you're going to make me late on my lunch hour here, that chose, oh, this is hysterical, let me help this man. And everybody else involved watching and seeing the love and the kindness and the humor in it all that shifted everything about that moment. We have that opportunity, that gift, so often. So often. I can think of days, well, I can think of one in particular. I started my day by rounding the end of my bed, heading toward the bathroom, and stubbed my toe really hard. And I said, golly gee whiz. No, I didn't. I won't really tell you what I said, but it wasn't nice. I swear, I get in the bathroom, and I'm putting toothpaste on the toothbrush, and somehow I'm not paying attention, and a glob falls off onto the floor. Oh! And I said, shoot. No, I didn't. So I'm picking that up and wiping that, and I come up, bang my head on the edge of the vanity. Bam! Ah! What a crappy day this is going to be. Guess what kind of day I had? All day long. Was just one thing after another, after another, after another. So now, when this happens, because these goofy things are inevitable, they're going to happen. Bang! Okay, you got my attention. What? Right? Or the toothpaste falls on the floor. Okay, I'm good. You know, it just, take that moment to find something funny about it, reset, time out, shift. It's all good. It's all God. So a new business opened up in a small town. This community in the Midwest was not happy at all. They tried stopping the business from opening. It didn't work. They petitioned the board to revoke their license. It didn't work. They picketed. It's a very conservative Christian town. Did not want this there. But they were flourishing, frankly. It was doing quite well despite their efforts to close it. So local Catholic diocese leased land next to the store and popped this up. And that, I don't know, well, let's just say the place is now a Dollar General. Okay, so for those of you in the South, you certainly know what that is. So some church signs. Don't let worries kill you. Let the church help. So, to those of you who have churches, always get a second set of eyes on everything, whether it's your newsletter or your email blast or your reader board. Make sure you run it by at least one other person, because a lot of times they will see things that you could not. I want to make sure I don't give this away here. Okay. This I just thought was cute. Prayer, wireless access to God with no roaming fee. Okay, that's just cute. I like anything that gives a little bit of humor to God, right? Whoever stole our mower, God will get you. Their shed had been broken into, their mower was stolen, and this was their way of getting it back, apparently, or trying to. I don't know how Christian that sign was, but it is what it is. This is a real place. This is a real place. Where do you go to worship? Little home. Well, you did ask for a sign. Again, anything that puts a little bit of humor associated with God, I am all about, as long as it's tasteful, obviously. Private sign, do not read. Look at you, all guilty. Guilty. This I just thought was clever and a whole topic for Sunday morning. What if God asked you for a sign? Is that not a whole topic for a Sunday morning or a workshop? So this led me to church bulletins. These are allegedly real bulletins. For those of you who have children and don't know it, we have a nursery downstairs. Where'd they come from? What? Huh? Some of these, it almost takes you a minute, right? Like, oh, okay. At the evening service tonight, the sermon topic will be, what is hell? Come early and listen to our choir practice. Yeah, I think I've been in that church a time or two. The low self-esteem support group will meet Thursday at 7 p.m. Please use the back door. I think that was held at Little Hope Baptist Church. Sorry. Okay. The Weight Watchers will meet at 7 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church. Please use the large double doors at the side entrance. Come on. Really? So this church had a spiritual leader named Dr. Hargraves. And Dr. Hargraves had been ill. And he was doing remarkably better. So they sent an announcement out. And they said, God is good. Dr. Hargraves is better. I guess they really loved this guy a whole lot. The peacemaking meeting scheduled for today has been canceled due to a conflict. Which is highly ironic. And there was a young couple who attended this church, and they got married. They had been courting all through high school, and they got married. So the church did a little announcement about that. Irving Benson and Jesse Carter were married on October 24th in the church. So ends the friendship that began in their school days. Folks, you got to proofread these things. You got to consider all the possibilities. It reminds me that I used to be in a top 40/wedding type of band for a number of years. And I played a lot of little nightclubs when I wasn't doing weddings and stuff. And I always sent out a little postcard in the mail. And the heading was Public Performance Schedule. And then under that would be all the dates coming up for the next month or two where people could see me and my band. Well, I sent out 300 to 400 of these postcards. Several people had seen them. Nobody commented. But one friend looked at it like for a second and a half, went, "Oh no, you didn't mail this out. Please tell me you didn't mail this out." I'm like, "What's the problem?" I forgot the L in public. Yeah. That's the thing. The place was packed. I'm just saying. Actually, I had a few friends show up that night with some mock-ups of that with all sorts of suggestions on it, but I'm not even going to get into what they had to say about it. This reminds me of the days I usually share a silly story of how I injured myself showing a piano, but I decided to swap it out for something else. So, for a lot of years, I was a prankster. Thank goodness I've gotten over that, right, Tim? Yeah. But I did inherit my dad's wicked sense of humor in terms of just pulling pranks and doing silly things. And you know, it was back in the days when you didn't have, some of you are maybe young enough to not remember the days when you didn't know who was calling. It was amazing. The phone would ring and you didn't even know who it was, but you picked it up anyway. Incredible. Then you were tethered to the wall, but that's a whole nother topic. So I was guilty of playing a lot of phone pranks, a whole lot of phone pranks. So I had a lot of friends seeking revenge. Okay, I'll just put it that way. I had just gotten back from California. I was in a big seminar on electronic music, and you know, I mean, like my classmates included Barry Manilow, to give you an idea of the type of event it was, right? So I get home, and one evening my phone rings, and I pick up and I hear, "Hello, is this Sean O'Shea?" Okay, who's it? And I'm right away, what do? Yeah, this is Sean O'Shea. Oh, yeah, I'm totally mimicking this person, right? He's like, oh, you're a keyboard player? I said, you're running well back. I am. And I'm still not quite getting the voice. I know it's one of my buddies. He's going to start laughing any minute. He says, oh, it's great. This is Tim Rafferty. I'm the manager of Meatloaf. I'm like, right, okay. I'm like, oh, Meatloaf? I love Meatloaf, especially with a spot of ketchup. Hey, are you available to tour? Tour? I'd love to tour. I'd be great. He says, do you have your own gear? Oh, yeah, you bet I do. Oh, I've got, and I start listing off like $50,000 worth of these expensive exotic keyboards that I don't own. He's like, oh, that's crazy. Would you be willing to bring them? Oh, you're running well back. I would. So now I got to catch it because he's just not giving in, right? I'm waiting for the laughter. I'm waiting for the friend to tell me who he is. Finally, I went, so tell me, how'd you get my number here in Massachusetts? He says, oh, I got it from Bo Tomlin. You were just out there taking a seminar. And I said, oh, I said, I am so sorry. Now, I should have just said, well, I appreciate the call, but no. Now it's him. It's really the manager of Meatloaf asking me to go on tour. And I'm totally poking all kinds of fun at him. And he says, yeah, that's great. Hey, listen, I've got another call. Could I call you back? Yeah, please. Please call me back. Yeah, please. He didn't. Yeah, that's how I felt. Did you do that? Okay, that's pretty darn funny right there. They have a pill for that. Anyway. Anyway, I was living with my parents at the time. My mom says, hey, come down for dinner. I said, no, I can't. I don't want my mouth to be full when Meatloaf calls back. But he didn't. So now I'm thinking, oh, somebody got me really good. Somebody got me really, really good. It's one of my friends who knows I was out at the seminar. Oh, good one. Cha-ching. Yeah, they got. So I start dialing everybody I know. All right, Mike, come on. What's up? Joe, was it? Going down the list. Nobody. I have not caught the culprit. All right. Who could it be? Who could it be? So finally I called the promoter that ran the event. I said, hey, you probably didn't give my name out to some guy who he's like, yeah, why? Oh, no. So 3 days later, my phone rings, and I hear, Sean? Yeah? This is Barry Manilow. I'm like, hi. And laughter erupts on the other end as a buddy playing a prank, serves me right? So obviously, folks, finding humor in every circumstance is vital. It's vital to our own well-being, to the energy that we bring to every situation, to those who surround us, what we give off, what we're putting out there. And obviously, horrible things happen sometimes where there's not even so much as a smile to be had in it. There's nothing funny about it at all. A congregant comes to you and says, my child has cancer. I'm not telling you, tell them a joke, they'll feel better. Obviously, you've got to put that aside from time to time. But having that understanding that God has a sense of humor and knowing when to put that to work is an individual call. Sometimes it's a little difficult to make. I have been, by trial and error, occasionally tried to insert humor where I shouldn't, and it didn't end well for me or for those I was trying to serve. So I know that you have the wisdom. I know that you have all the right tools to know when to put this to use. But at the core, I want to suggest before I close here that every single one of us has been blessed with an incredible and slightly warped sense of humor. And if you can be brave enough to laugh at yourself or at your circumstances, and not in a self-effacing way. Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, why did I? No, just, okay, this is pretty goofy. Or the one I love to say is, wow, I wish somebody took a video of that. That had to look really ridiculous. It was like all the time for me, walking into things or tripping over things or whatever's going on. Life gets so much cheerier. Colors seem brighter. Smells and tastes are sweeter. Laughter is just pure music to your ears. Tears and laughter are so closely connected. Just stay tuned in to that divine frequency and know that all is well. I invite you to check up on my work at reverendsean.com and keep in touch. And thank you for the honor of allowing me to speak this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.